Morning, good evening, wherever you are. My name's Adam. This is my testimonial of my long COVID journey. It's December 12th, 2022. I have been long hauling for almost a year now. And wow, it's crazy to even put that in words that it's almost been a year. I was infected originally just over Christmas um, of 2021 and started long hauling a few weeks after that in mid-January with an onset of neurological symptoms. Um, it was a really dark place. The first 1, 2, 3, 4 months were absolute hell. Um, I know how you guys feel. I've been there. I promised myself when I was almost better, if not recovered, which I wouldn't say I am completely recovered yet, but I would say I'm 90% better, that I would put together a series of YouTube videos and start a channel for my fellow long haulers, because what I realized when I was going through this over the last 12 months was I was so scared and so lost. And, being a middle-aged man, I was super, super nervous to talk to anybody about it. I was super nervous to talk to even anyone in my family about it, other than my wife and my son. Nobody really knew what I was going through. So this is my time to help others. It's my time to get a lot of this off my chest. As it's been just this demon that's been sitting on my chest for the last year, and I'm ready to finally get rid of it and share all these secrets. We call them secrets, or tips and tricks. There really is no one secret on how to get better from long COVID. This is more of a compilation of multiple different things that I've done. There is no magic pill for long COVID. So if you're here for that, I'm sorry to tell you, but there isn't. But there is quite a few things that you can do to help yourself, give you and give yourself the space, the time that you need to heal, and give your body, which is a miracle. Your body is a miracle. Give it the time and space that it needs. I mean, right now you're probably thinking, "Oh my God, what do you mean time, space? Like, how much time?" You have so many questions, but this is just an introduction video. I'm going to go through my story, my journey. If it resonates with you, or if you find similarities in what you're going through, then I hope it helps. And as I go forward here with my recovery and getting from 90% back to normal, back to myself, I'll be making videos on the different things that I did, the different devices I used, protocols that I followed, and just telling my story, really. And I really hope that it does help someone out there. When I first started long hauling, I thought I was having constant panic attacks. I was constantly in fight or flight. I was constantly having adrenaline surges and dumps, and I had a couple panic attacks before in the past over my lifetime, but this was every day. It was 2, 3 times a day where I was constantly having these adrenaline attacks, and I couldn't get over them. And I would take Ativan, which I had prescribed for emergencies, and it wasn't doing a whole lot, which is where I know, wow, this really is an anxiety. What's going on here? And as I say, I had neurological long COVID. So for me, I really think that there's 3 different types. There's either, respiratory, cardiac long COVID, or there's neurological long COVID. And there's probably more than that, but if you combine all sorts of different stories from other people, you could probably come up with those 3. I did a lot of reading on Reddit, and there's a couple of subgroups on there, long haulers recovery, and another one that escapes my mind. There's one specifically for recovery stories, which is when you get to a point where you just need to read recovery stories, you're going to get to that place. You're going to find it. And instead of reading all the doom and gloom on the other subreddits about long COVID, you got to migrate yourself over to this one and just read those stories. Super helpful. Anyway, so I started typing my symptoms into Google. Obviously, I was in shock. I thought I was going crazy. I had head pressure. I had head burning, like the right side of my brain was burning, and the pressure. These symptoms, it's hard to describe because they were so intense, and so real at the time that I don't even know. My brain tried to block out all this, and later on, I will find out that my brain really was trying to block this out. I have what's called DPDR at the time, so it's depersonalization, derealization. So my surroundings didn't feel real. The people around me, myself, we didn't feel real. Those people didn't feel real. I didn't feel real. I would catch myself staring at the window for 10, 15, 20 minutes on end. And it was just, I thought I was going crazy. I chalk it up to brain inflammation. I think my brain was under so much stress from COVID at the time and going into COVID that I was just constantly stressing my body. I was working out 5 times a week. The other thing that I think caused my long haul, obviously the state that I was in of stress, but also going right back to exercise. So I went right back to the gym, putting in 5 days a week at the gym, running. 2, 3 days after, I probably still had COVID at the time, but I was feeling better, I thought, and went right back to this, and probably aggravated to the point of, my body was already under this inflammatory response, and then I'm causing all this external stress as well and physical stress on my body, and it just kind of snapped one day. Just woke up and said, well, something's not right here. I'm not myself anymore. And I would say the worst of these symptoms lasted for probably 3 to 4 months. Um, yeah, they didn't let up. I mean, every day was a battle. Every day was a struggle just to make it through the day and just to get to another day. I mean, I didn't think I was going to make it. We had my second son this year in July. Connor is now almost 5 months old. I didn't think I was going to make it to see him be born. That's the kind of place I was in, and that's what brain inflammation does to you. It causes a shit ton of mental health issues as well. Anxiety, depression, loss of feelings. I had no joy, no hunger, no sadness, nothing. I couldn't cry. I couldn't laugh. And I was eating to survive, little bits here and there, but I really had no desire to eat. There was no hunger. There was no hunger signal. One day it just snapped, and I was hungry. And there's certain things in my journey, that certain signposts of where things started to improve and what symptom went away and did it go away completely. And I'll go through those in later videos because it's just going to be too long, but I mean, there's just so much to discuss. A lot of it got journaled, so a lot of it got written down in my journal that I started in January. So I've been writing in it every day since then, and my memory was so bad. I had to look back on how hard those days actually were. And 5, 6, 7 months in, when I was saying, oh my God, today's awful, today's hard, go back, read that journal, find out exactly how hard and how much hell you were going through. Super helpful tool. Even now when I have bad days, you got to go back and look at how bad those days were and how far you've come. So that's been a great tool for me. I will note that I was reinfected about a week ago. I had anxiety about what was going to happen to me, and touch wood, I'm okay for now. And I say that I've passed COVID I've been clear from it for about 5 days now. And this time I knew what to do. This time I had the resources. I had Paxlovid, I had ivermectin, I had the eye care protocol from FLCCC. I had everything ready to go, and I started it before I even tested positive because I knew what was going on. I think I picked it up at the gym, even though I'm super careful and always sanitizing and masking. I use the sauna because the sauna is part of a protocol that I read about, along with some drops made in Canada here, some DMSO drops and saunaing to reduce inflammation for those who are suffering from neurological long COVID. So I think I got it from a goof who was in the sauna. Nothing we can do. It's everywhere. We can't hide away. Another part of mental health is hiding yourself away. You can't do it. I mean, for the first little while, it's okay, but you got to get to a point where you can step out of your comfort zone and do everything you can to get yourself better. Anyways, back to the reinfection. After going on Reddit, talking to other folks on there, there's 3 categories. You either magically get better, you stay the same, which is what I was praying for, or you get worse. I can't get worse. I can't go backwards. So I don't need the miracle, but I will take staying at 85-90%, which is where I am right now. I radically rested. So I've rested for 2 weeks through acute infection and a little bit afterwards as well. You absolutely got to do that. You got to let your body heal. You have to not put any stress on it. No exercise, no working out. Do relaxing things. Calm your vagus nerve. Calm your central nervous system and activate that parasympathetic nervous system. I'll make another video about that too, but I think the nervous system for me was on fire. That relates to all the neurological stuff as well. Constantly in a sympathetic state. You have the sympathetic and you have the parasympathetic nervous system. And I was in constant sympathetic. It was constantly saying, oh my God, there's a bear, he's going to eat you. It's kind of like a primal thing versus, all right, it's time to eat and let's rest and let's digest. So I had to get to this parasympathetic side and get out of this sympathetic nervous system side. So there's been a ton of stuff that I've done for that. One of them is vagal nerve stimulation. So this is a device that attaches to your ear and also to your back, and it attaches right here onto your ear. You put it on the left side only, and the other patch will go on your back. And there's settings. There's actually a group on Facebook. Dom Wildley has a group if you're interested in that. And what that does is it helps activate your vagus nerve, which runs from your brain all the way throughout your body. It's related to gastronomy, like your digestive system and everything, muscles. It's all sorts of stuff, and you got to calm that down. That's one device that was not expensive. There's really expensive ones, but you don't need that. They all follow the same principle. Breathing and humming and singing and air brushing. Basically, you take a brush and you brush your lymph nodes and your glymph nodes. You can do a massage, all sorts of different stuff. I'll talk about these in detail. If you have questions, you can put them in the comments. And if you want specific videos, I can also make those as well on these things. But for me, I really had to calm that down. And that was the first thing I did, was I have to get my body's on fire. Like, another thing, this book right here, you got to get this. If you got neurological long COVID, you got to read this, Brain on Fire. You will relate to this. This girl, her story is similar to mine, similar to ours. She had a problem where she thought she was going crazy, and literally her brain was on fire, and that's the way I felt. I had to calm it down. So my number one goal was to get this parasympathetic nervous system constantly activated. I needed to get calmed down. I needed to alleviate stress. Working through all of this still, I didn't mention that I did not stop working. I took paternity leave for 5 weeks to be with my baby and my family. I also used the 5 weeks to concentrate on meditation and grounding and breath work and vagus nerve stimulation and cold showers and ice exposure, saunas, humming and singing and all this stuff. It was all so important. And nothing else could progress unless I got myself to calm down. And not myself, I don't mean that, but my body, my mind, the connection had to be made that we weren't on fire anymore. And another thing, guys, time. All the long haulers in the subreddit say it, time. You need time. You got to buy yourself time. If you don't buy yourself time, you're going to have a problem, but time will heal you. I don't mean to discount those folks who have not been healed by time. I mean, there's some folks on the subgroups who have been sick for 2-3 years, but you will see small improvements, and I feel for those folks that are still sick, and I am still sick too. I'm not myself. I'm not the same person I was before all of this began, but I'm doing what I can, doing my part here to help others and share my journey and help those who relate to the things that I'm going through. That being said, there's folks who have POTS and who have breathing problems and all those sorts of things. Now, luckily, I didn't have those things, but I did have all the neurological problems, and I relate to you guys on the level of that. So that's all I'm really going to talk about. I can't talk about cardiology, or even though I had all those tests. I mean, I just got back from the cardiologist today, and he ruled out myocarditis and all sorts of stuff. I had 5 or 6 appointments over the last year just to rule everything out, because in the beginning I was having palpitations and really heavy heartbeat, chest pain, breathlessness in the night, and all that stuff. And you can chalk that up to inflammation again. Even though I was reinfected, my heart rate has been above 100 since then, even when I'm laying down. So, inflammation's at play all throughout the system, not just the brain for me. I mean, especially you get reinfected or you have COVID, everything's inflamed. So that leads me to the next step. After you calm the body down, after you get this parasympathetic nervous system, you make it part of your life, you've got to reduce the inflammation. You have to. So much of, we hear about that oxidative stress and inflammation, and we hear it from influencers and things like that, but we're talking at a cellular level. You've got to do everything you can to reduce inflammation. The first thing that you can do, the first thing that I did was diet. Go on an anti-inflammatory diet right away. And you can make a whole video on what I used as diet and supplements, and I'll do that. But go on an anti-inflammatory diet. Look up what it is. Even an AIP diet where you eliminate things from your body. Eliminate things from your diet and see what you react to. But if you go strict anti-inflammatory, that's going to help right away. You can start taking things like turmeric. You can start making juices and stuff with turmeric and ginger and garlic. All those things are going to help reduce inflammation. There is lots of supplements too. You can look that up on what will help you do that. But when you do reduce inflammation, a lot of your symptoms will start to calm down a bit. At least that's what I think. None of this is considered medical advice, by the way. I am not a doctor. I am just sharing with you what has helped me. And a lot of what I've learned, I learned through basically like a forum. Reddit is a forum. It's a message board. So what I'm trying to do here is take what I've learned and put that in a video form, because some folks, even in the beginning, I couldn't read. I was having trouble finding my words. I was having trouble having conversations, and I couldn't read. I'm a big reader. I read, 20 books a year, and I couldn't get a few sentences in. So when I was having trouble, I would listen to audiobooks, or I would look at YouTube videos and such. And there really wasn't any YouTube videos on long haul and folks' stories and what they've done. So I really hope that this does help. Activate the parasympathetic nervous system, reduce inflammation, work on your mental health. I'm not ashamed to say that I use tools during my long haul to help buy me time. Wellbutrin was one of them. I never reacted well to SSRIs, and they gave me a few to try and trial them at the start of this. They didn't make me feel good, just like they didn't make me feel good years ago when I tried them. Wellbutrin I'd had in the past, in when I had some, depression from losing people in the family and things, and it did help me through some of the first few months of the hard times. I then switched to Fluvoximine, which is not used for mental health. It's used for reducing brain inflammation, really. They're trialing it. They're studying it right now. I take 50 milligrams a day, broken in half, 25 and 25, and they're actually using it now to treat acute COVID. So I started taking it again when I got COVID last week or the week before, and probably take it for another week or so just to be sure. But yeah, it's definitely helped, I think. And when I had those brain attacks, basically the burning brain and the pressure and stuff, I would start taking it again. It didn't have to be taken every day. What I mean by that is it didn't have to be taken constantly for the entire year. Like I would take it for a few weeks on end and then discontinue it. And then if something flared up again in terms of inflammation, I would start taking it again. The hippie things. The third thing is you got to change your mindset. Yeah, I mean, they call me at work the sage guy. So I have my traveling diffuser that goes everywhere with me with calming scents. I have my pocket pharmacy as well. None of these products, none of this stuff that I've done is endorsed by anyone. I'm just giving you what's helped me. I mean, the stress release and reducer roll-on would help me when I was having my panic attacks and my adrenaline surges and stuff. I would roll it on my pulse points and also here, and I would use it at work when I had to be super discreet and just kind of look like I was blowing my nose. or wiping my nose, and I was really just, I was inhaling as much of the stress release roll on that I could. And oh my goodness, it's become a meditation corner at work. I have a Zen garden, I have my diffuser going, I have a sunlight lamp, a sad lamp you call it, and then I have these roll-ons. So yeah, it's the hippie corner. It's changed my mindset on a lot of things and how important it is to treat. I was treating my body well. I mean, I was eating well. I was doing diet and exercise. I lost 80 pounds the year before I got COVID. So I was doing that, but I wasn't treating my mind well. I wasn't taking care of myself. And that's so important. Mental health is so important. And so, yeah, there's also things that you have to do for your brain. So the fourth thing is just um, creating new neural pathways. So I went to a long haul clinic at the local hospital here, and I got 5 appointments, which was amazing. There are quite a few complaints about the healthcare system and how they treat long haulers. For me, I had a good family doctor, didn't understand how to treat what I was going through, didn't know much about it, but was extremely enthusiastic to help me. So I led the charge on my recovery and treatments and specialists and referrals, and he was very helpful for me. And the long haul COVID clinic, I got to see an occupational therapist who believed me. I felt heard. I got to learn things about, this is before I started doing all these alternative things, and they're not alternative. I work with a naturopath now. It's not alternative medicine, it's traditional medicine. Like, this is stuff that we've been using for centuries, and it goes back to the cavemen, all this stuff, grounding and eating primal and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, the long haul clinic at the hospital, they helped with all sorts of different techniques for relaxation and manipulation of the spine and the head and all sorts of stuff. I'm working with an osteopath now who's doing even more of that for me. So you really got to look outside the box. You really got to try everything at your disposal. I understand some of you might not have these things at your disposal because of insurance or because you're in a country where insurance is extra. Luckily, I'm in Canada. I feel fortunate. I am privileged to have the universal healthcare system, and on top of that, I do have benefits through work that allows me a certain amount of visits with these secondary osteopath, massage, acupuncture, all that, which has been quite helpful. But if you are in the position where you can try those things, you got to do it. You got to try them at least once, especially massage. I use chiropractor too for adjustments for the neck and spine. Another thing, I thought, like, oh my gosh, it feels like there's not enough blood or oxygen or something getting up to this right side of the brain. And I think those adjustments did help a lot with that. Yeah, music too. Music, music, and and old hobbies are things that I use to create new neural pathways. So Guitar Hero, oh my goodness, on easy to start. Now I'm back to medium. It's helpful. You remember them from when you were younger. Find something that you did when you were a teenager or a kid. Try and do it again. It was almost like relearning an old hobby or an old thing you used to do with friends. I also started doing jigsaw puzzles. I started with 100 pieces, believe it or not. I had trouble, and now I'm up to 1,000. It's part of my recovery. Form these new neural pathways. That was the portion where I was losing words, and even my stroke order on my sentences and things when I was journaling would be different. I'd find myself writing letters that didn't make sense to write that letter. You're writing it, 3 letters down the road and then coming back. Weird. So much about this disease is weird and strange and unknown, and you got to do everything you can. Yeah, so old hobbies. I started playing the guitar. It helped at the beginning. It did, for sure. I started just learning chords, and now at the beginning I was playing every day. Now, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, I'm doing a lesson on just a guitar, and it's helping. I'm just taking my time, doing it at my own pace, and making sure that I'm not doing it to do it. I'm doing it now because I enjoy it, and I'm doing it because I know I need to do it. You could try a language, you could do a lingo, or something other than what you're doing every day for work or lying in bed. Music. Find what you love. This is a screamo band from the early 2000s, and I used to love them. I used to love that kind of music. That's all I started listening to again. I don't know if it took my brain back to a point in my life when I was 17, 18 years old and I had no cares, no worries. But it did help. And definitely music was a big part of my recovery. I'm going to make some reaction video songs and some reaction videos to songs, and also some videos on songs specifically that have helped me. And there's been some from Tom McDonald for sure, who have made these videos that they're inspirational and they can make you want to continue to fight. There's a song called Fighter right now by him that is so helpful, and I will definitely post that link for you guys, but I'll also make a video about it as well. It's worth it. It's worth a listen for sure. What else do I have here for you? Yeah, there's more things. I mean, there's supplements, there's diet. We can talk about that in a separate video, but the moral of the story is I've come a long way. I'm 90% recovered. I've been reinfected recently. It's December 12th, 2022. I am about 9 days from my reinfection, and I'm doing okay. Fingers crossed, touch wood. I'm going to keep making videos. I'll keep you guys updated. But I remember my first days, first weeks, first seconds, first minutes, and those minutes seemed like hours, which seemed like weeks, which seemed like months. And time was all fucked up. Time was just all over the place. It was either super long, like the days was just dragging, like nothing seemed real. Time didn't seem real. Finally, time has started to become real for me again. Looking at my watch, it's 4 o'clock. That feels right. Before I'd look at my watch and be like, 4 o'clock, oh my god. This day feels like it's been 3 days long, but 4 o'clock makes sense to me now. Just these small things. Honestly, there's so many symptoms. It's hard to even talk about all of them. I'm sure you feel the same. It's hard to even list them all when you try and talk to anybody about them, but you got to talk about them. And another mistake I made was not opening up to those the closest around me. My wife, yes. My son, a little bit guarded. He's 10, and he kind of knew that daddy was not doing well. He was having some things going on from after COVID. But my mom, my dad, my best friend, I just kept them in the dark, and they wondered why I went dark, why I went black, until I finally told them. I mean, it could be maybe May, June. I started to talk about it more. I had to. These people that love me were wondering what the hell was going on, and I felt relief, especially my best friend, when I told him. I mean, my dad was always there for me. I always talked to my dad about things, and my mom too. She had friends who had gone through some long haul, but I don't think they really knew exactly what was going on. But when I was able to talk to my best friend and tell him what was going on, he took a huge weight off my chest. And that's another moment. You have these peaks, right? You have these signposts that I talked about in your journey, where you'll remember them, and you'll remember the day that the tide turned, the day where things were better. And one more thing there, I can't show you because the phone's recording, but there's an app called Daylio, and I went from this, which I still use, the journal. Daylio, 100% you got to use it. It allows you to, I bought the premium subscription, it's like $20 for the year. You can track your days, and I use awful, bad, okay, good, great, and now almost 100%. So you can track your day by your mood. You can also track your day by your activities, the weather, chores, hobbies, health, food, all sorts of stuff, so that you can start to see patterns, and you can start to see trends of when you're having a good day. What are you doing on that day? Are you doing your vagal nerve stimulation? Are you doing your grounding? Are you doing your meditation? Are you doing your puzzle or whatever? And you'll see when you do certain things, do you have a good day or do you have a bad day? You can also use it as a journal. You can add up to 3 pictures, and you can also add text in there as well. So I've been using my journal for longer, writing sessions, and then I type in here a few notes for the day. But it's crazy how you'll see, like I started using it in July or August, and you'll see back then, oh my God, the months were brutal. And now you'll start to see a lot of good and a lot of great days pieced together. So definitely a good resource. You should check it out. I think they have a free version as well if you want to try it out before you decide on anything, and go from there. But again, guys, this is my first video of my channel. I'm trying to reach as many long haulers as I can. And yeah, my name's Adam. I'm a long hauler, COVID long haul, neurological problems. And I hope this video helps you. This is my story. So I had to do my testimonial, my kind of give it all and lay it all out there for you to see, and for me to get it off my chest, so that now I can go into making some more specific videos on what really helped me. And we talked about things so briefly. I'll be able to break it down and do videos on just showing you the things that have helped. All right, guys, thanks so much, and hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Any questions, put them in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get back to you.